Yes, well, good morning to all of you. Let's start on a happy note. We're together helping the country, learning about agribusiness, and hopefully supporting our champion today. We have champions doctors who give us information and inspire us to move to fulfill our objective of countryside development and poverty reduction. Our guest today will talk about, of course, different things. Namely swine fever, corn rice, and challenges, etc. But who is he? And I told to give maybe a couple of minutes on how he got into this because we want a personal connection. Who is he? He's the vice president of the Philippine Association of Feed Millers. You know, without the feeds, nothing will happen, right? Very important thing, especially in this crisis today. He's a national sales manager of JetBet's Animal Nutrition and Healthcare Corporation. We like salespeople because they deliver results. You don't deliver results, you're nothing, right? This is what we want to do after this. We want to deliver results. Incidentally, we monitor what happens after this, and our two key result areas is one's the forum. Second, very important, what we do with technology to create jobs, right? Okay. The third one, of course, is the auditor of Southern Tagalog. Auditing is so important right now. There's so many areas where it's lost to corruption. And I want to restate here that we are emphasizing one of our missions here, which is the private sector monitoring the huge state budget. They're increasing it by 40%, 264 billion from about 105. And since that happened, there's a year when 22 billion was reported by COA, 22 billion right in 1 year in 20 in unliquidated funds. So audit was very important. And without private sector auditing, which they abolished it for 2 years. It went up to this tremendous thing of 22 billion, I'll repeat, 22 billion in unliquidated funds. But now with the restoration, which we'll achieve this week, I'm going to propound this week to fight for that, to come in, right? Okay. And basically, with all of this, we'd like to say that his 20 years management training, and interestingly, his background is both accounting and education. You see the financial aspect is so important to make things sustainable. And the education, he's interested in education. He wants to change people's lives through giving knowledge. So what a fantastic thing. Because sometimes you have finance with no heart, no education. Or you have education, but not knowing about the finance, you go broke. So he's got both. And from the very start, you saw his heart, right? So it's my pleasure to present to you our guest speaker, Roderick Ramirez. Roderick, Ms. Chair, can you take it away and conduct this hour? Our chair is so busy; she's leaving after 1 hour. But to let you know, 8 to 9 is the formal one, and a lot of young people go to work. But 9 to 10, we continue and we look at action, interest, and other questions. 9 to 10, I would chair the second part, but the first part will be chaired by Dulce Punsalan. Okay, Roderick, take it away and welcome, and we're so happy to see you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much po. Maraming salamat sa pag-i-invite sa akin dito sa event na to. Hindi ko alam na ganito pa kalaki yung audience at saka yung profile ng mga audience na magpa-participate this morning. But I hope that this presentation will answer yung mga na-mention kanina na kailangan kong i-provide na information. And ano yung mga objective na kailangan pagtulungan natin, we as a company, as an organization, PAFMI, and you as an organization as well that would want to work on kung paano may improve yung well-being ng agriculture at saka ng tao working on the agriculture. I will be sharing my presentation to start my discussion this morning.
To everyone, he has allowed us to call him Eric for short.
Yeah, thank you. You can call us also our first names. Yeah, that's a good thank you. But me, I'm not Ernie, I'm Ka Ernie. I'm now promoted to a farmer.
So my discussion this morning, everyone, is about the key challenges in the feed industry, particularly in our country, Philippines. So we all know that we've been devastated by so many challenges over the pre-pandemic and pre-ASF years, from 2019 until this day. napakarami ng challenges na pinagdaanan ng industriya ng agriculture, particularly yung sa feed industry. So the Philippine feed mill industry, feed milling has the crucial role in agriculture and fisheries development. We ensure that food security inputs to livestock and aquaculture, and we are capable since we are equipped with highly technical and modern facilities to produce high quality feeds, priced at a reasonably priced and hoping na stable. The thing is, yung reasonable pricing and stable pricing, this is something na ito yung pinakamalaking challenge talaga ng feed milling industry sa ngayon. No? At the latter part of my presentation, makikita natin yung impact ng issue natin na pinag-uusapan about feed milling. So what are the key challenges in the animal feed industry? So first is the price and supply of raw materials. We all know that the prices of raw materials has increased over time over the past 3 years from 2019 until this year. To start with, high prices and availability of raw materials may lead to frequent changes in feed formulation. So when we say changes in feed formulation, most likely, hindi tayo mas nakaka-save kasi yung replacement material to the original material used in formulation is somehow mas mahal doon sa original material, but particularly ngayon. For example, our D1 are priced at 21 to 22.50. Our pollard is a replacement material as well, also priced at that level. So while yung ating major raw materials in the production of feeds are priced at only 23 to 24.50, will bring cost of production to increase as well. Pag mahal yung production cost natin, most likely ita-transfer natin yan doon sa end user, which are the farmer. And worst case scenario, there will be disruption in operation kung walang supply or sobrang mahal ng presyo ng materyales at wala tayong mabili. And worst case is tumigil talaga yung operation ng feed mill. At magkakaroon tayo ng issue sa food security and supply chain of and related supply chain. So first, corn has the major role in the production of feeds. Around 40 to 60% of our formulated feeds for poultry and swine are corn. In the past years, price of corn has increased by 20% in 2021. This is average collected and monitored price by PAFB, or around 3.11 peso per kilo and 19.10% in 2022 or 3.55% per kilo. 2022-2023 forecast 4,000 metric tons short from last year's production. This is prior to the typhoon that devastates our North Luzon corn suppliers. No, magbabago pa to over the end of the year since grabe yung naging epekto ng typhoon sa North Luzon. It is also the result of reduced fertilizer application. We all know that the fertilizer has increased by 300% from previous years and recent typhoons in October and November. Current price of corn in November is 23.50 to 25, and is expected to increase further until the first week of 2023. The graph shows that over the past 5 years, pinakamataas yung record natin na price ng corn this year. This is simply because of the issues on production sa sources natin, and also yung pagta-transport ng imported corn from source to the Philippines. Next is the soya or the soybean, and its byproduct, the soybean meal that we use for feed production. The price of soybean meal in 2021 was extremely high, hitting 28.05% increase, or around 6.53 pesos per kilo. And in 2022, with 22.53% increase, versus 2021 of 6.71%. Current price in November is 38 to 40 pesos. Last year, during the same period, prices of soybean meal ranges from 35 to 60 pesos. This is because of the shortage and the delay in shipments of imports in November and December. There will be enough supply in 2023 as US is gearing to extract more oil, leading more US soybean meal production. Yung direction ng US ngayon is to protect yung kanilang supply for energy, which is yung oil na naapektuhan ng Ukraine and Russia war. So hindi sila masyado naglalabas ng prime material, which is the soybean, and they plan to extract more of oil to save para doon sa 5-year planning nila para sa energy. For feed wheat naman, 4-year streak of increasing prices at a rate of 5.57 in 2019. We have 4.03% in 2020, 13.63% in 2021, and 27.22% in 2022. The Russia-Ukraine war gravely affects the price to shoot up and disruption in supply. So around 30% of our grains and seeds are nanggagaling sa Ukraine and Russia, and na magkaroon ng war from last year extending until this year, nakaapekto ng malaki doon sa supply natin, though we have supply from other sources, but malaki yung nawala sa atin, plus yung naging food security measure na ginawa ng India, the reason that shipments of feed wheat from June to July has ceased dahil nga po pinagbawal nila ang pag-export to other countries. So current price ranges from 25.50 to 26.50 per kilo. Rice bran, which is produced locally sa atin, byproduct of our rice, makikita natin that yung price range niya is mas mahal pa sa gate price ng palay. So 2022 average price of rice bran has recorded its highest increase in 5 years of 56.42% or 7.51 pesos per kilo. Declining rice production as a result of reduced fertilizer and the adverse effects of the typhoons that devastate the rice producing regions, particularly central to North Luzon. Pollard. Pollard is a byproduct of wheat, so this is a domino effect of the shortages in supply of pollard. So prices has increased by 66.31% versus 2021 or 7.51 pesos per kilo. Price range in November is 22 to 23.50 pesos. Other factors affecting the price to shoot up and yung supply then is the inflation. We all know that almost all of the countries worldwide ay affected ng inflation. So pagtaas ng inflation rate, pagmahal ng supply, ng prices ng supply. Calamities and weather condition, we have typhoons, severe droughts, and rains in different countries or sources of raw materials. Transportation cost is quite high. Mataas yung dollar rate, mataas ang price ng oil. Labor cost is quite high as well. Purity and quality is an issue also for price and availability. Then governing policies, taxes and duties, environmental controls, and other related factors also affects the price and supply of our commodities. Political climate and conflicts like Russia and Ukraine. So what I've presented to you is the major raw materials being used for feed production. Okay, the second one with the feed milling industry issue right now is the animal diseases, particularly the African swine fever and avian influenza that currently are still present sa country natin and gravely affects the population of our livestock over time. So per the update of BAI, we still have 9 regions, 17 provinces, 26 municipalities, and 63 barangays affected by ASF. And the total affected region as of October is 58 provinces, 748 municipalities, and 4,110. So far, nag-improve na naman yung number of infected areas natin, kaya lang hindi pa rin ganun kaganda yung pag-grow or paglaki ng population ng mga baboy natin. So this presentation shows the ASF status in the Philippines. Dalawa yung source natin. We have the Babay ASF or Bantay ASF sa barangay, and the one that on the right side, pinapakita naman yung alin na yung mga areas na nag-improve na over time. Pero yung nasa left side naman natin, pinapakita yung spread pa rin ng ASF doon sa country, and we only have a few regions na hindi pa nakakaroon ng ASF. So new cases of ASF, as noted, we have in Iloilo, particularly Iloilo Island of Panay in October. Then we have in Irusin, 2 weeks ago lang po ito nagkaroon ng ASF. So we have also areas na convert na natin from pink to surveillance, and so maganda yung nagiging movement natin na ginagawa, particularly ng government and private institutions and individuals to really control ASF. So swine inventory, commercial and backyard from 2018 to 2022 showed that swine population same period last year, January to October, showed significant increase or decrease in 2021 versus 22 is down by 18.97 or around 9.170 million heads from 2021. So even influenza update, now we have 9 regions infected. We have 18 municipalities, 18 provinces, 68 municipalities, and 136 barangays ang minomonitor pa natin. So far in October, there were no positive cases reported from the period October 14 to October 20. Poultry inventory, poultry layers, and native chicken showed that we have a declining population pero hindi ganon kalaki, hindi pa natin nakikita yung epekto nito. This is something that we have to review pa since madami na yung areas infected, but yung report pa rin ng PSA is medyo madami pa din yung stocks. Pero per dito sa Batangas po, yung report natin, wala namang infected ng AI, no? Pero since limited yung supply, particularly ng parent stocks and DOP and DOCs, medyo bumababa yung population natin ng layer dito sa Batangas. So inventory of livestock and poultry showed that from 2018 January and 2022 January, our swine had declined by 24.69% or around 3 million heads, and broilers at 10.86, pero our native chicken has grew by 0.75, very minimal growth. Layers had grown by 25.67, goat is 4.02, and cattle at 1.63. This slide naman shows our production of crops and agriculture. 2020 versus 2019, makikita natin that our livestock has been down by 1.32. Fisheries is 2.85, while the poultry is 8.26. Growth and the crop grew by 8.04. While same period 2021-2022, magaganda lahat yung figure na ipinapakita, with crops increasing by 1.51, livestock at 12.04, poultry at 6.87, and fisheries at 10.62. So impact to farmers, ito yung pinaka-importante na portion nitong discussion for this morning, since ang kailangan natin is ma-secure diretso yung supply ng karne sa merkado. merkado. So makikita natin that in this presentation, yung makikita natin that yung awing October 2019 na price ng corn is 16 pesos, while in October 2022, we have 22 pesos, which is an increase of 6 pesos per kilo. Kung ang isang farm na merong 5,000 na baboy na kumukonsume ng 1,460 metric tons of corn per year, the additional cost at 6 pesos will be equivalent to 8.7 million pesos. Ganun kalaki yung impact ng escalation ng prices natin. This is just for corn. Pero hindi pa natin hindi dito na incorporate yung prices ng other raw materials that ginagamit natin for the production of our feeds. Also, yung average cost ng feeds natin from 2019 to 2022 has increased by 11.73. A farm with 5,000 pigs consuming 2.92 metric tons feeds per year, the additional cost of 11.73 will be equivalent to 34 million. Ganun po kalaki yung impact ng increase ng prices natin ng raw materials over time sa production din naman ng sa farm natin. Also, makikita natin that our current prices, yung cost to produce natin this year, 2022, for swine is 156.7, while gate prices ranges at 160 to 180. Dependent po ito sa quality ng stock na inilalabas ng farm or kung saan nanggaling yung stock. It could be commercial farm, it could be backyard farm. For broiler naman po, we have 93.03, pero yung price range niya at gate price is 96.03. Our ready to lay pullet po is to 251.67. Ang price po niya is 320 to 330. Pero I forgot to include yung price naman natin ng itlog and cost to produce of egg, which is most likely nasa level ng 6 pesos. Pero ibinibenta din natin yung egg natin at a price of 6 pesos. So with this presentation, makikita natin yung impact ng pagtaas ng raw materials natin over time doon sa end point, which is yung farmer natin. The question is, kung ganito yung nakikita ng farmer na itsura ng negosyo na meron sila, would they be encouraged to continue doing the business or titigil na sila kasi wala naman silang kinikita na? And for the longest time, ito yung na-experience sa mga farmers natin. Maybe ngayon meron tayong stocks kasi makakaroon tayo ng demand kasi meron tayong celebration na tinitingnan from December until first half of next year. The question is, kung hindi magbabago yung prices ng raw materials, which at the end of the day will contribute to the prices of the farm inputs na mahal din talaga. At hindi naman tumataas yung presyo ng ibinibenta natin, which is the farm outputs. Wala na pong magfa-farm after some time. And titigil yung cycle natin, yung supply chain natin for food, which is pinakamalaking supply ng karne na nire-require sa atin ay nanggagaling sa agriculture sector, particularly sa livestock at saka sa aquaculture. When we simulate po the profit na na-earn ng isang farmer for a head of baboy with this price, hindi natin na-consider pa dito yung other cost attributed to the operation like electricity, medicines, and all. This is just feed cost. Ang computation po namin is negative na ng 600 pesos per head ang farmer for the swine. So I don't see na it will be a better market pa or agriculture industry next year kung hindi natin mapagtutulong-tulungan, which is our objective naman talaga, is to really help the agriculture sector to bring back na kumikita lahat, and at the end of the day, hindi ma-hamper yung supply chain for food. Key takeaways po, Philippine feed mill industry plays a crucial role in agriculture, livestock, poultry, and fisheries development. The total estimate market volumes of feed industry is more or less 17.95 million metric tons of animal feeds valued at 538.6 billion pesos. It ensures food security by supplying the annual protein meat requirements of Filipinos, such as 1.67 million metric tons of pork, 1.54 million metric tons of chicken, 551 metric tons of egg, and 4.23 million metric tons of fish. Corn production, particularly yellow corn, is not sufficient to meet the demand of the animal feed industry. Thus, substantial volume of feed wheat and corn also imported to augment the balance requirement. Yellow corn accounts 50 to 70% of the total input cost of feed millers. So the reason that ang feed millers po ay nagre-request talaga to really extend EO 171 that will help in aid para mapababa yung cost to produce natin, and also to make sure the continuous supply of corn na ginagamit natin for our production. Next, sustainable management of natural resources is very important. Isa sa mga issues natin ngayon is yung supply natin ng limestone na nanggagaling sa Bulacan, na medyo nagkakaroon po tayong shortage kasi wala tayong masyadong namimina, or pinatigil muna temporarily ang pagmimina sa Bulacan to protect yung environment. Increasing cost of feed inputs, agricultural commodities resulted to higher production costs and high food meat prices. Availability, accessibility, and affordability of raw materials are critical to a competitive, efficient, and sustainable feed milling, livestock and poultry farming and agriculture. And growing Philippine population, increasing demand for protein meat consumption, and the higher farm gate prices are the opportunities in the feed mill industry. Yung higher farm gate prices po, gusto ko lang i-highlight, no? Higher siya kasi dapat naman talaga mas mataas siya para kumikita lahat. Kung parehas na ang presyo ng cost to produce at saka ng farm gate price, ay hindi na po siya kagandang industriya. Recurrence of diseases like ASF, avian influenza, pandemic, and rising raw material prices are among the challenges looming over the Philippine feed industry. So pagdating po doon sa ASF and avian influenza, what we're doing is just a band-aid solution, particularly government and private institutions. Kasi we cannot do so much. We really need to have a vaccine to control ASF and AI. And to this date po, wala pa tayo available na vaccine. And kung hindi natin to magagawa, lahat ng activity na pinagtutulungan natin, like repopulation, the babay ASF, the animal movement controls, and the compartmentalization that has been launched by Department of Agriculture by ITCPH last week, I think hindi ganon kalaki ang magiging impact sa atin. Makakatulong, pero hindi totally makaka-eradicate ang problema natin with regards to animal diseases. With that po, I thank you for your attending, and I hope that I have shared information which is relevant to the industry, the agriculture industry. Thank you very much, everyone.
Madam Chair, can I just ask him a question before we start the big open forum, Madam Chair? Yes, well, fantastic presentation. We really like that, Mr. Roderick Ramirez, Eric. To encapsulate it, okay, let's do it in like a few sentences. What are they not doing, the government, what is it not doing, and what should it do? Okay, for example, what's not doing right now is that the tariff rate, right now, there's a move to increase it back to its former rate, and what you think it should be retained. But what else? What are they not doing that they should be doing, in a few sentences? Thank you.
Okay, for the supply of raw materials, I think what is very important is a sustained and reliable supply of raw materials. It will help. It will aid in the control of the prices. The thing is, wala tayong nakikita na ganon ka-define na program to really improve the supply, the locally produced raw materials sa ating particularly corn. And besides, year on year, hindi po lumalaki yung yield natin or yung production natin. It could be lumiliit yung farmlands natin. Second is, hindi nasusuportahan yung farmer para mabigyan sila ng mas mura or mas affordable na farm supplies para makapag-produce ng mas magandang ani. Pagdating naman po dito sa animal diseases, ano yung hindi ginagawa ng gobyerno? I think they fail to fund an activity that could answer kaagad or makapag-provide agad ng vaccine para dito sa disease at makatulong sa atin lahat to stop yung issue, to end our issues on animal diseases. What they should be doing for the agriculture, siguro yon kung pwedeng i-fix yung lowering the tariff para doon sa ating production inputs, particularly for feed mills. Itigil yung importation ng karne and other supplies na nakakaapekto doon sa production natin locally. And gawin nila na mabilis na magkaroon ng pondo para sa programa na magkaroon tayo ng vaccine for ASF. And also support fund for a fund for the farmers to make them entice para magdire-diretso yung agrikultura natin sa Pilipinas.
Madam Chair, just want to comment. We're taking the notes on that, Madam Chair, and though we're not in policy, we're more in technology transfer. It's talking of some policy things. So while we're not in policy, we are in fact a channel for giving information. We don't recommend but give information. The information we must give the decision makers, not advocating but reporting his suggestions. And for each one he said, we check or not check what's happening, correct? We're not in advocacy of policy, we're just in technology transfer, but we are in fact in information giving. So we will not necessarily agree with you on this point, but to me they sound very valid, but we won't say anything like that. We just say, these are the recommendations of a leading person whose heart has been in agriculture all this time. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4. And though we're not in policy, we'll listen down and give it to them. And for information gathering, we will see what they're doing and not doing. And maybe there will be something they may open their eyes to. So thank you very much, because it's stuff like this, you know, that sometimes the government does not hear properly, or they hear it, it's in 35 pages, they don't see what's important, right? So thank you, sir. Thank you, Eric. Okay, Madam Chair, thank you for that opportunity. Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you again very much, Eric, for your very comprehensive presentation and very realistic on the ground talaga. Lahat ng mga problema na kinakaharap ng ating agriculture industry and even the different sectors involved. Thank you also for Ernie for the inputs. For those who may not be familiar with EO 171 and why local producers are actually involved or actually opposing EO 171, I posted in the chat box the article on EO number 171. This is from Manila Bulletin. So just to share a quick input on this. The effects that regarding the tariff rates that were mentioned by Eric, and this affects the corn to 5% in quota, 15% out quota, etc. It's already there in the article. And then I also posted in the chat box the outstanding endeavors that PAFMI has been doing in the last 70 years. And PAFMI is actually the largest association and the 60 to 70% of direct cost of the livestock raising, PAFMI is involved in this. So now we go to our question and answer portion. For those who may not be able to ask questions directly, you can post it in the chat box. We have our guest here. So kindly mention your name and then the affiliation, and then ask. We are only allowed for the first round 1 question, and then so that we will give chance to others to ask questions, and then we will have a round 2 in the informal discussion. So Henry. Okay, so our first question will come from Rosano, Mr. Rosano Velus.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I have to interrupt now. Point of information. PAFMI made a lot of suggestions. I want to be on record here that one
Okay.
farm organization, namely the Field Maize or Corn Organization, do not want to keep the tariff rates down. The reason they don't want to keep it down is because they feel that it should go back to its regular level, thus encouraging more corn production. We won't debate it here. I'm just saying that for the record. I think PAFMI suggestions are all unanimously given, except that tariff rate. There's a big controversy on that right now, just to put on record. And we report, we will not say which we side on. We don't advocate. We will support that, in fact, there is a feeling that these low rates that were temporarily done, they were going to make it much longer. And the farmers are afraid because when prices change and it's still low, they're really going to suffer now. But anyway, just for the record, I would like to say that that's the one thing that may be controversial. We will not take sides. We just say that there is that other position. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ka Ernie. So we will now go back to our question and answer portion. Mr. Rosani Velus, the virtual floor is yours. Kindly ask your question.
Magandang umaga. Kami sa Zamboanga Development Grains Corporation, nakapagtanim kami ng mais noong 2016, about 800 hectares na consolidate namin. Naging problema namin, tinamaan kami ng El Nino at saka tinamaan kami ng La Nina. Pero nakapagdala na kami sa Batangas noong 2017 din ang feeds mula Zamboanga del Norte hanggang Batangas sa mga cooperative, Soro-Soro Ibaba at saka doon sa mga egg cooperative. Pinaplano namin uli ngayon sa March, April planting, pagtanim uli ng mais sa consolidated lands namin. Tinitingnan namin kung paano namin makukuha ang parametric insurance para ma-secure yung financing, maglalagay ng financing. Tinitingnan din namin ngayon yung logistics dahil ang presyo ng mais per kilo galing Dapitan hanggang Batangas 2 pesos and 50 centavos na. So tinitingnan namin kung paano mapapababa ito sa 90 centavos pero a 900 metric ton volume per shipment. So now ang challenge is how to get it all together. Yung bang Feed Millers Association willing mag-invest sa forward contracts sa pagtatanim ng mais at pagtayo ng mga logistical support systems para mapababa natin yung presyo ng mais. Ang tansya namin, 70,000 pesos per hectare ang cost of production ng mais sa ngayon. At ang logistics pwede natin mapababa sa 90 centavos. But we need volumes and we need financing to do that. We have the lands, we have consolidated lands, we have the farmers to grow it, but we need infrastructure to get it going. So willing ba ang mga association, PAFMI, small sa Batangas Association, mag-invest towards forward contract sa mais at sa logistical support system? Salamat.
Yes, sir. We have members, I think, na doing that already or practicing that one. With regards po doon sa concern natin kung willing ba yung feed millers, I think we're very much willing, no? Ang kailangan lang po siguro natin is maupuan. Kasi syempre marami pong parameters na kailangan nating i-discuss. And at the same time, para maging malinaw po lahat nung mga gusto nating conditions pagdating doon. We can invite you po for a meeting with the Southern Tagalog Feed Millers. Iko-coordinate ko po sa president natin, and also sa PAFMI, yung concern natin regarding this para po maupuan din natin at mapag-usapan natin in full detail.
Maraming salamat. Plano namin magtanim ng Marso, kaya kung hanggat maaari, makapag-usap tayo sa lalong madaling panahon.
Yes po, we will ask, actually, I believe yung secretariat ng PAFMI is also attending this morning. Pero if in case na hindi po sila naka-attend, I will let them know to get your details para po makapag-meeting tayo with PAFMI and the Southern Tagalog Feed Millers at mapag-usapan yung mga possibilities ng collaboration in the near future.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much po.
Thank you very much, Kasani Velus. Our next question is from Sir Leonie Montemayor.
Magandang umaga, Rick. At
Yeah, good morning po.
Sa inyong presentation. Gusto ko lang sundan yung kakatanong ni kasamang Velus. Kasi mahalaga rin po ito from a political context. Kasi, di ba, kadalasan, parang aso't pusa eh. Ang nagiging relasyon ng ating mga magmamais at saka yung ating mga users like the feed millers, hindi po ba?
Yes po.
Gusto ninyo ibaba yung taripa sa under EO 171 o ipagpatuloy yon. Siyempre, ayaw na mga corn farmers natin na ganon.
Yes,
So, I think it will be useful kung sana we can highlight the areas of convergence maybe, and partnership. And as I said, sundan ko lang yung sinabi ni kasama Velus kasi for example, we have quite a good unit of the FFF. I'll cite a specific example of Pindangan Second sa Kamiling, Tarlac. Sila po ay gustong mag-deliver regularly. And in fact, they've been delivering their yellow corn to the Pilmico. May branch kasi yung Pilmico doon sa may Kapas Tarlac.
Yes po.
Pero ang sabi ng aming manager doon, ang problema, handa sila mag-supply pero I think the storage capacity of the Pilmico branch in Kapas is quite limited. So, ganon. Kagaya sinabi ni Mr. Velus kanina, handa sila mag-produce kung meron sana magandang marketing arrangement with the feed millers. And I think that will do, that will of course benefit all sides, di ba, Rick?
Yes po.
Perhaps lessen the tensions
Yes po.
between the users and groups. Yun lang muna. Salamat po.
Okay po. Yes sir. Pagdating doon po sa concern natin with regards to storage ng feed mills like we have limitation pero kung marami naman po yung kukuha and consistent yung supply in a regular basis, I think masosolve naman po yan logistically. Kailangan lang po talaga natin maupuan para magkaroon tayo ng mas magandang collaboration. Malinaw yung mga guidelines natin, parehas parameters na kailangan nating i-follow. Kasi yun nga, tama kayo, kakaroon tayo ng issue na para tayong aso't pusa in some way na we requested na babaan ng taripa para bumaba yung feeds natin at magkaroon ng continued supply kasi may issue naman po tayo pagdating sa supply ng corn. But we agree po na kailangan supportahan din naman talaga natin yung local agriculture. At kaya nga po na-mention ko din kanina, government shall have the way to really support the farmers to continuously grow yung business na meron sila. At the end of the day, this is a business naman talaga. But it supports the supply chain, which is kasama dito yung food security.
Quick follow-up lang, Attorney Dulce. Rick, ano bang nakikita niyong prospects for developing other substitutes like root-based root-based product? Is that within your future thinking? Kasi isa rin possibility ito, dapat it's time And
yes,
hindi lang po sa feeds but even for substitutes to bread wheat. di ba?
Yes, ang isa
Oo.
pong tinitingnan natin na substitute is cassava. Ano po,
Yes.
the reason that we have several meetings from in Thailand, no, particularly with the discussion on the production of the cassava and incorporation of cassava in the formulation of feeds. Ang alam ko lang po, parang may mga limitation tayo sa ngayon with regards to the use of cassava, especially doon sa capability ng machineries natin na naka-install sa mga medyo alam naman po natin na pag cassava medyo starchy siya. So mas mataas magiging mas mataas ang cost to produce kasi kakain siya ng mas maraming kuryente and the moisture also kung hindi maayos yung preparation natin for cassava. But I think marami naman po tayong pwedeng pagkunan ng replacement material or na locally meron naman tayo.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much po. Thank you po.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions from our guests or members of MAP-ABCDF?
Dulce, one more since wala pa
Sige po.
nagtataas.
Para
yung
makompleto na po.
Opo, yung pong issue po ng processed animal protein, it directly impacts on your avian swine flu concern, di ba, Rick?
Opo.
May sarili ba kayong evaluation or assessment as to whether it is advisable for us to continue importing PAP from ASF hit countries?
Opo, may mga discussion po regarding PAP na since dumaan siya sa processing, may mga nagdi-discuss na at certain level namamatay na yung virus. Samantalang ito po, buong animals na niluto ginawang pulbos, dumaan sa napaka-extensive na process. So parang sinasabi nila na most likely hindi na rin buhay dito yung virus Pero may mga issues naman po na bakit tayo kukuha diyan? Kasi kanya-kanya po ng opinion pagdating diyan until siguro such time that maipaliwanag properly itong component ng product na to at yung safety rin ng gagamit something na wala naman po tayong magiging issue kasi kailangan talaga din natin ng animal protein supply.
Rick, isa na lang kasi yung handling nun, okay, so the high temperature kills the ASF virus, di ba? Pero yung handling kasi on the way to the Philippines, siyempre dadaan yan sa maraming kamay, packaging, yung nasa pier, etc. So hindi kaya doon magkaroon ng potential contamination. Siguro yun ang isang dapat tignan.
Yun po. Kaya nga po yung controls po at saka yung yung risk na attached to that activity ay dapat din siguro malinaw.
Okay. Salamat po ulit.
Thank you po.
We have a question from Sir Ernie Villaluna.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Ernie Villaluna from MAP-ABCDF Foundation. Now, I would just like to know, your organization, do you have like a parang that monitors, like say, components of feeds that are imported from abroad? Now, the reason why I asked about this because of way back January 5, 2022, from Bloomberg, there was a news that came out that China is the one hoarding food reserves, like 69% of corn, I think 61% of rice, and then also wheat. Of course, February was the Ukraine-Russia war. March, Russia stopped producing fertilizer. And all of this has an effect on the prices of these commodities, because I think maybe we are probably still importing soybeans, all this stuff, some of this stuff, that will affect, our food, our component, the composition of the animal feeds that we produce. Thank you.
Sir, the question is import monitoring on commodities.
Yes. Now the prices, the effect prices depends. Because China, I have read something maybe several years ago, that China's food consumption is equivalent to 20% of the world's food production. But they can only produce 11%. So they have to import 9%, you know. And we know that the components, like for example, corn, they would normally import 70% from the US and 30% from Ukraine, you know. And I don't know, you know, based on productivity, the US corn productivity is about 8 tons per hectare. Now, I don't know if we'll attain it here. I have friends who are in the broiler business. You know, they're planted. I think they get only about 4 tons per hectare. I'm trying to recall way back in 1974, something like that. Taiwan, I think, decided to import corn because they cannot compete the productivity of the Midwest farmers. But on the other hand, they went into asparagus, wherein the revenue per hectare of asparagus was higher than corn. So, okay, it's over to when they import corn, but they exported canned asparagus, you know. That's what I've read, you know, just many years ago. I don't know, you know, these things is being thought about also here in the Philippines. Our problem really is our import is bigger than our export. I mean, we're talking only of Philippine export about 75 to 76 billion dollars a year. And this year, if we continue based on PSA report, you know, we might have a trade deficit of 60 billion dollars, you know. And you can just imagine we're already based on the foreign exchange we get from the BPO and the OFW, you know, and plus the interest of our foreign loan. We have to dip into our international reserves. And that's what's happening actually. We are only doing about $76 billion a year export, but our neighbors are doing about 230, 250, 270, 330, 700 billion, like Singapore, you know. And it will take a little while, I think, because we've shifted to services more than export manufacturing. So that's what I mean.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
Eric,
In
can
terms
you
of
answer?
in terms of monitoring po, noon pumapasok sa atin ng importation with regards to feed milling related raw materials, we only dependent on the information from Bureau of Customs. Pero since ang members din po naman ng PAFMI is not at least 80% of the total feed mills in the country, just like in Batangas 100 yung feed mills, pero PAFMI is only 37 members. But what we do for PAFMI in terms of monitoring is the prices of local and also coordination with the government agencies on outlooks and supply of locally produced materials. But we can work on that, sir, na tingnan natin kung paano po natin mai-improve yung mga activities ni PAFMI to really support the agri sector in terms of monitoring of those items.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Ernie. In the interest of time, we will continue the discussion after 9 o'clock. So, but we will first award our certificate of appreciation to our speaker for today, Mr. Roderick Hernandez Ramirez. And then, are we ready, Henry? Kindly show the certificate again. So this is the certificate, the Management Association of the Philippines, Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation Incorporated hereby awards this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Roderick Hernandez Ramirez as our resource speaker. Kindly put up the screen. Yes. And this certificate is awarded during the 43rd weekly forum meeting of MAP-ABCDF, dated today, the 22nd day of November 2022, signed by Chairman Julius Barcelona and President Ernesto Ordonez. So thank you very much again to Roderick Hernandez Ramirez for sharing your invaluable knowledge and precious insights on the key challenges of the agriculture industry in the Philippines. So our next weekly forum will be shown later, but I would like to request everyone to kindly turn on your cameras. So we will have a webinar photo of everyone present in this session. And there have been requests also to share the recording. As I said earlier, the recording will be posted in the MAP-ABCDF YouTube channel 2 weeks after this live session that we have. So Henry, can you turn on the gallery shot? For those who, okay, are you ready?
So we have
Okay, so we have two
two
screens.
yes.
We have 28 participants. Okay.
Okay
ano
po,
ka?
I'll take a shot na in 3, 2, 1, smile. Isa pa po. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay po, second page na po tayo. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, smile. Alright po, thank you so much po.
Thank you very much. And now, can you show the schedule for the topic and the schedule for our next MAP forum? This will be on Tuesday next week, November 29, again at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. via Zoom. The title of our forum next week is Wagyu Capital by Arnel Corpus.